AITA for telling my dad I'm officially done and give up? I, 23F, graduated from college last year and moved back home with my parents while I search for a job. It's been tough, no interviews, feeling unaccomplished, and losing the independence I had in college. However, I was still actively applying for jobs, networking, and working on myself, so I don't consider myself lazy. I still made an effort to grow and get a job while also struggling with depression and severe anxiety. All I ever wanted was to work hard and for my parents to see me in a positive light. So, regarding the title, for context, my dad and I have always had a complicated relationship. I will disclaim that he never hit me, he worked hard at his job, we have a nice house, and we have never struggled financially, and I've always felt blessed with that. But growing up with my dad, we had good moments, but there was also a lot of tension. He often spoke to me in a passive-aggressive tone, became impatient when teaching me things, and was just always emotionally unavailable. He values respect above everything, but in his eyes, if I slip up once, that mistake defines me, no matter how much good I've done otherwise. I was always a good kid, never partied, never drank or did drugs, never snuck out, always communicated where I was. I always considered myself very kind and compassionate, and I would never intentionally hurt someone, but he would still label me based on small mistakes, like attitude or forgetting to do a chore. I admit, when I was a kid and a teenager, I would respond poorly to his aggressive tone of voice, and I would give him attitude right back. But I've grown a lot since then. Since moving back home, I've tried to step up. I clean, grocery shop, and bring him food while he works from home, even check in on him in his office, and have many conversations about life updates. But it always felt like he was always waiting for me to slip up. If there was something small that I did like, maybe leave the cereal box out on the counter or something, he'll wait until he's angry with me about something else and then bring it up and call me dirty. Keep in mind, he and my mother constantly leave dishes out in the sink and on the counter daily, even after I unload the dishwasher every day, I don't leave dishes out. Just a cereal box. Once. He'll also make comments about me taking a day to just sleep and say stuff like, well, it's nice to see someone gets to sleep today, in a sarcastic tone of voice. And he'll also guilt-trip me about not having bills or responsibilities. There was one time, I had just gotten back from a trip to New York and I just randomly mentioned I was a little tired from the flight, and he would say stuff like, it's not like you have any bills to pay or responsibilities, what are you tired of? Keep in mind, he never once asked me how the trip went. But he never asks me things like that, I was used to it. The breaking point came over the trash. I forgot to take it out once. I admitted it, apologized, and promised it wouldn't happen again. But he kept bringing it up for days. During a family gathering, I was helping my mom cook in the kitchen, he mentioned it again in front of everyone, insisting it was my fault the trash overflowed, and I should have seen the trash can and thought to take it out. I got frustrated because I already apologized for it, so I said, you didn't ask me to take out the trash. Which was true, he didn't. But then he accused me of lying, and he insisted that he did ask me. We went back and forth about that, but I got very frustrated, eventually just walked away, and had a full-blown anxiety attack upstairs in my bedroom. Later that day, he pulled me aside in his room to talk, and he was very angry with me and said that I am always disrespectful, and that I never do what he asks, and I always act defensive when he asks me to do things. He accused me of making a smart comment under my breath when I walked away during the encounter downstairs, which multiple family members who saw our encounter confirmed I didn't do that. He also brought up unrelated past issues from as long as 5 years ago, but completely changed the story of what actually happened to make me look bad. I ignored that part, and I told him that I was respectful. I do not have a problem with doing what he asks me to do, I will happily do it, I already apologized about the trash and already said it wouldn't happen again, so why did it have to keep being mentioned? It was one time, I forgot one time. I continued to tell him that I feel like he still sees me as some bratty kid, no matter how much I try to grow, and won't ever just treat me like an adult. He then got in my face and said, fine. You want to be treated like an adult? The second you make another mistake, I'm coming for you. Hearing that crushed me. I asked him to please get out of my face because he was scaring me, and he called me disrespectful again. I already struggle with anxiety, and I'd been trying so hard to change, but at that point, something in me broke. The recurring cycles of him never wanting to resolve issues or hear my apologies, him constantly calling me a liar, him immediately jumping to conclusions and not even listening to me, I broke. I told him, I officially give up. I'm done. He said, fine. I added, relationships go both ways. If I'm the only one owning up to my mistakes and actively trying to change and not you, then nothing will ever be fixed. That's the problem. His response was, you're the problem. You've always been the problem. It's been 2 months since. My dad has ignored me completely. He communicates through my mom when he needs something from me, but otherwise he basically just pretends I don't exist. My mom admits she doesn't agree with how he handled it, and my dad told her he's just backing off because he thinks talking makes things worse, but that he's also hurt that I said I give up and am done. In the past, I've always apologized after arguments, but this time I haven't. Apologies never actually fixed things with him. Trying to change and show him my growth as a person has never actually fixed anything. This time, I meant what I said. I've given up trying. Now, I feel anxious in my own home, afraid of making mistakes, and don't feel like I can live in peace in the house. All of this has seriously messed with my mental health, and I feel like the only way to heal is to move out, which is my goal to do in a few months. I know saying I give up wasn't the best choice of words, but I am so emotionally drained and at my wit's end. AITA?
Relevant comment. Numbers over feelings. He sucks, that's true. But I can understand his frustration and harshness. As you said, he worked hard and you wanted for not, financially, growing up, and yet you're 23 and still needing him financially. What do you do all day? Applying for jobs takes time, but with 0 interviews, what do you do all day? I'd be critical of you too. Go get a part-time hourly job. Apply for grad school. Flight to from New York while still unemployed without a job? Yeah, that would irk me as a parent too. If you're not working and eating and sleeping, I'd expect maximum output household-wise too. You suck as well based on the way you described the situation. Personally, I think he's unable to communicate his frustration and also fear. Fear of what your future looks like. How can he have provided every opportunity, in his mind, and you're still unable to self-sustain? It snowballs and now he's just angry.
OP. I will post an update soon, but you have the completely wrong idea. I understand that still needing my dad at 23 can be pathetic if you're not working hard, but I have been working hard. Right after graduating college last year, I started applying to as many jobs as I could, anywhere. Wasn't getting anything. You don't seem to understand the job market, it's very difficult. Especially to people just coming out of college. Most jobs with decent pay want like years and years of experience. The only job I was able to get after graduation was scooping poop at the pet store for $12 an hour, which is what I did all day. That job was exhausting. Once my shift ended every day, I was back to still applying for other jobs with better pay, attending networking events, taking cheap classes to grow my skills. I did a lot that constantly went uncredited at home. I still continued to look for work on top of working at the pet store and also helping around the house and running errands for my parents. I promise you I am not a lazy person. If I were, I can understand my dad's frustration, but that's not what I was doing. All I've ever wanted was for my parents to see me as a hard worker. You think I could do that by just sitting around doing nothing? Absolutely not. That wouldn't even make me proud of myself. I quit my pet store job a few months ago and am currently working a bigger job with better pay for 2 months now, super busy with that, and am saving and will be moving out of the house hopefully in December. I'm glad that it's easy for you to be financially stable as a young adult, but it's not always easy for everyone else. Also, regarding the New York trip, my boyfriend's brother was getting married in New York and I was initially not going to go because I couldn't afford a plane ticket. My boyfriend's family really wanted me there, so they bought me tickets so I could attend the wedding. I was not just going on trips without a job and stuff. I don't do that. I've actually never been on a trip anywhere without my family. That was my first time. It was one trip for a few days and then I started my new job literally a few days later. Update. Hi everyone, I really appreciate all the advice and wake-up calls. Sorry for the delay. Reddit kept deleting my updated posts. I just wanted to give an update and share some details I didn't mention earlier. I graduated over a year ago with a BA in Communications and Media Studies. After graduation, I spent several months creating an award-winning short film while job hunting. During that time, I worked at a pet store for $12 an hour, applied to jobs constantly, helped at home, and stayed active by taking some training classes. I was never lazy or just sitting around at home, but the job market was extremely challenging, which took a toll on me emotionally as I felt unaccomplished despite working hard in school. After 8 months of persistence, I was finally hired as an office assistant, where I've now been working for 2 months and saving to move into my own apartment in December. When it comes to my mental health, the hardest part has been dealing with anxiety and depression. My anxiety has spiraled at times, and my struggle with self-harm has worsened, which only my therapist knows about. My mom checks in often, but I haven't told her. My relationship with my dad remains tense. We don't have real conversations, though I still greet him to stay true to myself. I've been battling low self-worth, self-blame, and replaying how I could have handled things differently, which has made it hard not to internalize his distance. I will also mention my mother, since I didn't mention her much in the initial post. My mom has always been more supportive than my dad and has always tried to be a part of my life. She checks in often, gives me advice, and even helps with my dog. She disagrees with how my dad handled things, though she also tells me I was wrong to say, I give up. She'll lecture me about how words hurt and how family is important, and she's sad that I've recently distanced myself so much from them. She feels caught in the middle, saying my dad and I both acted out of anger and were both in the wrong. She also says that I should be the one to talk to him when I'm emotionally ready and apologize. I said no. Not because I am too stubborn or don't care. I have always apologized. Always. Even when I knew I didn't do anything. My dad will still hold a grudge and not accept it. While I rely on my mom for many things, I've chosen to process this elsewhere. People have also asked if I had anyone else I could talk to. Yes, I do. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years, and he's been my biggest support. Though my struggles sometimes affect our relationship, he helped me recognize toxic habits I picked up from home, and I've been able to identify them too and fix them. He makes me feel like myself again, and we're now discussing marriage. I spend a lot of time at his place, but remain considerate of his roommate and my parents' rules while I live at home. Also, regarding the New York trip, my boyfriend's brother was getting married there, and his family wanted me to be at the wedding with them. I was initially not going to go because I could not afford to fly there. Still, they really wanted me there and bought me a round-trip ticket so I could attend the wedding with them. So no, I was not just going on trips without a job or anything like that. I don't do that. In fact, I have never been anywhere on trips without my family. That was my first time, and my boyfriend's family generously paid for it. Regarding family or relatives, I do not have anyone who lives in the state where I live. I do have a sister. She is 10 years older than I am. She lives in another state, though, too. She does not speak to my dad often and only comes home once or twice a year. We were never really close growing up because of our age gap, but I reached out to her about everything, and she told me she's gone through the same thing at my age and gave me some advice. As far as updates on still living at home, it has been difficult. The first month after the incident was awkward and uncomfortable, and I still get anxious just coming downstairs. I feel like I never have time to myself. Someone is always home when I'm home. Someone always has to go in the kitchen when I'm in the kitchen. Someone is just always there. My long commute keeps me away from home more during the week, though, which helps, and while things are still strained, my dad has started greeting me again. One of the main reasons I'm still living at home is that I'm fortunate with what I have here. I live in a large house with my own nice-sized bedroom and bathroom, and my mom often cooks dinner and helps with my dog, sometimes gas, and sometimes groceries. This support allows me to save as much as possible so that by December, I'll be ready to take on everything independently. While living at home can be challenging, I'm grateful for her help, and what keeps me going is knowing these challenges won't last forever. Right now, I'm focused on working, saving, and still talking with my mom, my boyfriend, and my therapist. I'm learning to become my own cheerleader, to stop seeking constant approval from my parents, and to show up for myself. I still feel sadness when I think about the good times with my dad. He wasn't like this every single day, and I always cherish the good memories and moments. He's done many things for me over the years, and I will never discredit that, and I am grateful. But years of brushing aside his behavior have taken an emotional toll on me, and this time I won't be the one to apologize first. I'm open to listening if he ever wants to have a real conversation, though I don't know if things will ever be the same. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time, focusing on my independence, my growth, and the hope that things will keep getting better. Thank you to everyone who shared advice.